Slightly damp, just a little bit of drizzle in the air for the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship. We're at Virginia International Raceway, Alton, Virginia, on this classic road course layout. This, you know, if you were sitting designing a course from scratch, you couldn't do much better than this. You've got the run down to a tight first corner, the horseshoe, through turn 3, the NASCAR bend as it's called because it claimed so many big names back in the day. 3, 4 and 5 through the snake at 6, the climbing S's to the big braking at turn 11 and 12, where the old oak tree used to stand. Then the fast run down Madison Avenue and climbing just slightly before the braking area at turn 14, which is the entrance to the roller coaster, aptly named, before you dive down to turn 17, the right-hander, the hog pen onto the start and finish straight again. And even the start and finish line has a little bit of a kink in it. The weather has done its best to throw a spanner in everybody's works at the moment and have some kind of influence. But at the moment, after a wet start to the morning, there's a little bit of drizzle in the air, but it's warming up temperature-wise. And Jeremy Shaw, who's sitting alongside me, the Michelin GT challenge here, is ready to go. And a qualifying session for GT Le Mans that really could go anywhere. Porsche, particularly with Lawrence Vantour, who's been their qualifier this year, he and Earl Bamber made the decision early on this season that they would split their workload between qualifying and the races, and Lawrence is doing the qualifying. He worked really hard this morning to get a setup for the car in damp and wet conditions. He didn't always stay on the circuit. He visited the grass a bit, but he seemed to get a setup that he liked.
The Porsche seemed to be off the road as much as they were on it, quite frankly, but they were out there pushing hard, trying to find the limits. And I think that experience they gained from this morning should stand them in good stead here for qualifying. When we started that practice session this morning, the weather forecasters were kind of prevaricating someone. There was some doubt as to whether it was going to be wet or dry or intermediate for this session. That's why most of the teams elected to run most of the session. The Ford GT team, they didn't run much at all. In GT Daytona, which will be going up first, of course, for this qualifying session, the number 73 Park-based Porsche, that didn't run at all this morning. So Patrick Lindsay has got a lot of learning to do in this 15-minute qualifying session.
But as we said, there are 13 cars. Does it really matter in a race of this length around a circuit that is this long, whether you start first or 13th? Track position is important here.
Yeah, it is. I mean, GTD, the cars are so closely matched. There's a lot of strategy to be played out during a 2 hours and 40-minute race, certainly. There's going to be driver changes. There's going to be a couple of pit stops for the GTD contenders. So, there is certainly a lot that can happen. But, hey, you make yourself a lot less work if you start up toward the front. So I don't think it's something you should discount.
Shea Adam is down in the pit lane and can give us who is doing what to whom as far as the GT Daytona qualifiers are concerned.
Ooh, well, before I get to that, I just saw slicks being put onto a car, so I think we might have qualifying with some brave drivers going out. So, who are they going to be? All right, Gar Robinson is the Lone Star Racing qualifier for that Mercedes, car number 74, and it is Matt Plum in the McLaren for Compass Racing. Corey Lewis, the winner here back in 2017, will be qualifying the Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini. That's car number 48. And Ben Keating, who got a pole position in, well, similar conditions, actually, at Road America, will be qualifying the number 33 Riley Motorsports Mercedes. In the 63 Scuderia Corse Ferrari, that is Cooper McNeil taking up the honors, and Patrick Lindsay, as you guys were just talking about, having to learn pretty quick in the Park Place Porsche. It is John Potter in the Magnus Racing Lamborghini. That's the number 44. And for the 2 Lexuses in the 14, Richard Highstand already with the pole this year. And Frank Montecalvo doing the duties for the number 12. Also because his teammate is off in St. Louis doing the IndyCar race. In the 3 cars that are ahead in the championship, in 3rd place in the championship, Pfaff Motorsports, that's Zachary Robichon. In 2nd in the championship, Robbie Foley with slick tires for the Turner Motorsports BMW. Championship leading car will be Trent Hinman, looking for his 4th pole of the year for the number 86 MSR Acura. And the other Acura in the field is the number 57, an IMSA rookie, Alice Powell, being given the honors there.
And Shea, I think there's a few more teams making the decision very late to go to slick tyres. I think I saw one of the MGs, Jeremy Shaw, getting some slick tyres there.
I think the Riley Motorsports car was going to go out on slick tyres. That's Ben Keating. That's pretty brave. It's certainly damp out there. There was some sprinkles only about 5 minutes ago. Shea will be able to tell us what the conditions are like actually on the pit lane, but at this end of the racetrack, the south end, or we're in the middle, but there were certainly some sprinkles not that long ago, so the track is certainly going to be very, very slippery. It's going to be really treacherous for these first few laps.
Just watching the cars as they roll out of the pit lane, Jeremy, I've not seen a single one with wet weather tires on it. Waiting for Magnus. Nope, they're on slicks as well. There are slicks going on to the 86 MSR Acura, and we'll just have to see if everybody else follows suit, but there's not rain actively falling right now. I do have my umbrella up because it was falling on the way down, and we're expecting to get some more drizzle as the session progresses.
Thing is,
I'm not so sure that everybody's on slicks.
well, I tell you what though, if you're on slicks, you're stuck on them because you can't touch the car in qualifying, right, Jeremy. You can't even change tyre pressures. So I think it's very brave. If you think it's okay for slicks now, yeah, all right, but you could be caught out here. If you don't get a time, you'll be at the back. Well, then again, you'll be at the back of 13 cars. Oh, I tell you what, very, very interesting indeed. Very interesting indeed as to that. Cooper McNeil was making up a few positions as he was on the outlap. I think you'll want to get a bit of space here because what you don't want to do is get caught in somebody else's incident or accident.
Yeah, you're not going to get much of a draft in these sort of conditions, so make sure there's number 14 car off the road. That's Richard Highstand. He's already, as Shea was saying, a pole sitter this season. He's slithered off the road, going
up the hill.
Up the S's, top of the S's, is that?
Yeah, he's just getting back onto the track. I can just see the rear of his aerofoil getting back on the track. And he's picked up a huge, and he's going to have to come straight back.
Well, they're not allowed to touch the car, so
yes.
whether he's allowed to use a brush to brush that off.
He just lost
the
that
car.
coming into 10
yeah.
as he lifted off.
Yeah.
Well,
it's absolutely treacherous out there.
Now he should go into the old pit lane and do himself a drag start and then jump on the brakes.
I think he tried to do that there, the entrance to the old pit lane. He didn't actually go down the pit lane.
Well, he's got rid of some of it on the track, which is not going to go down too well. I would have liked to see him off the racing line.
I'm not sure that's there. I think that might be somewhere else.
But this is going to be very interesting now. Very interesting indeed. Shea is, even as I speak, I know that Shea is running down and going, slicks or wets to all of these teams.
Yeah.
Shea Adam has been asking those questions.
Well, they didn't actually declare it a wet session, which means that you should have gone out on slicks.
Right, okay.
No, it means you have a choice.
You have the choice.
Well, no, because they didn't declare it wet, it means that you have to go out on slicks. If they had declared it an open tire selection, then you could have chosen.
I don't believe so. I think it's the other way around. I think that if it's declared a wet session, then you have to start on wets.
Yeah.
I think that's the way. I'm pretty sure that's the way it is.
Well,
correct me if I'm wrong, but
I still think it's pretty brave to go out on slicks in a qualifying session. I think I might have been tempted to put. Well, there's two things about this: the wets don't count against your. The wets don't count against your tyre allocation, and so you can burn off a set of wets. It doesn't matter. You don't even have to start on those tyres because that disappears at that point once you've had wets on in qualifying. So you burn off a set of wets. It doesn't matter. We'll wait.
Well, that's a good point actually, because you were supposed to start the race on the tyres which you qualify, aren't you? Unless it's
unless you qualify in wets. And then,
unless it's declared a wet session.
Well, there you go. Well, there you go then. Now maybe we need to get Shea to speak to one of the officials there and find out what happened. But.
So the quickest cars on the outlap here is Gar Robinson's actually the fastest at the moment. He comes with a 74 and a Lone Star Mercedes. He's the best. Well, there's still no one's yet completed a flying lap, but the fastest first sector time was set there by Gar Robinson. Fastest second sector time by some distance is Matt Plum in the McLaren car number 76. Robinson's just gone to play. Here's the first guy to set a time. It's Cooper McNeil, the 2 minutes .3 in a Ferrari.
Not bad. That's not bad in these conditions on dry tyres, and that car is slithering around. It's not just the wetness, Jeremy, it's not getting the heat and the pressures into those Michelin tyres, because you can't lean on it. That's the thing.
There's Zach Robichon.
Oh, and he's looped it, coming out of 3. Get off the brakes, get off the brakes. Good man, good man. And that's how difficult it is. Does a beautiful flick turn, and that'll have saved his rear tyres.
Well, they've got a bit of heat into the rear tyres.
The rear tyres will have some heat, yes.
But Matt Plum now goes to the top. He's purple in sectors 2 and 3 in the McLaren for Compass Racing. That's car number 76. And there's a new best first sector by Corey Lewis, and a best second sector for Corey. Here's a replay of Cooper McNeil just straight over the exit curb there, the exit of turn 3. It's definitely damp out there on that curb and outside of it, and as soon as he got on the power, the car just whipped around on him, so that's a big spin for Corey Lewis. Matt Plum is going faster again through the first sector. Purple once more for that McLaren, car number 76. Where is Patrick Lindsay? Patrick Lindsay, who did not go out at all this morning in the Park Place Porsche, up into, well, it was second place, but now Corey Lewis has usurped him to go to the top of the charts. The first sub-2-minute lap of this session by Corey Lewis at 1:57.9. Matt Plum in the McLaren 2 minutes 0.7. Patrick Lindsay, lap times this morning, or no, and in his case no, a 2 minutes 1.9 in third place. Richard Highstand and Ben Keating are the two strugglers at the moment. Highstand a 2:23, that's last in car number 14. Ben Keating, who we know is on slicks. Not sure about these other guys. I fancy most of these are on wets.
Well, Turner Motorsport said most of the field is on dry tyres.
Do they?
Yes.
All right.
They've just tweeted that.
Wow.
7.5 minutes to go, halfway through the session. Lamborghini, Corey Lewis at the top in the 48 car, the Paul Miller Racing machine.
Matt Plum across the line to complete his third lap. Does improve, but not enough to get ahead of Corey Lewis. It's Corey Lewis that leads the way then in the Lamborghini car number 48.
I like the way Corey's driving that car. He's letting the car roll through the centre of the corners. He's applying the throttle with a little bit of decorum. Yes, he's getting the car out of shape just a little bit on the exits, but he's controlling that really nicely. I like this smooth driving from Corey Lewis up into the top of the roller coaster now to complete another lap. Meantime, still with lots of grass in the front of the car, the number 14 Lexus comes to start another lap, and that is the Highstand car, isn't it? Is he staying out? Yes, he is.
Is he?
Yes. Well, I don't think they can touch that car, Jeremy.
True.
You know,
Right.
So I think he's got to.
True.
He's got to go for a lap.
To make sure he doesn't cook the engine.
Yeah, well, he's got his teammate right in behind him.
Frankie Montecalvo goes to the top at a 1:57.2, but only briefly, because right behind him on the road is Corey Lewis, who's back to the front now. A 1:55.599 for Corey Lewis. He's chasing Frankie Montecalvo on the road. The two fastest cars are heading into turn 3 right now. The two Lexuses is together. Number 14, Highstand, he's at the back of the pack. He's 12th. He's 12th out of 13. Although Robbie Foley, who's 14th right now in the number 96 BMW, he's on a very good lap.
And Highstand's got to be careful he doesn't impede his teammate here as he's going up through the S's. The body language of that Lamborghini is so much different to the way Montecalvo's driving the bright yellow and black Lexus. Montecalvo is going in hard to the corners, dealing with what happens in the middle and sliding around and getting out, whereas the Lambo is going in very much more controlled and then getting the power on the way out. It's really interesting to watch, Jeremy.
Highstand's got to get on or get out of the way here, because Frankie Montecalvo is much faster than him. And as Zachary Robichon goes to the top for Pfaff Motorsports in the car number 9, a 1:54.8. Lewis second, 1:55.5. Robbie Foley from last to third in the Turner Motorsports BMW, a 1:55.6.
Foley was quick in that wet
Trent
session.
Hinman, 152.568 for Acura, car number 86.
Yeah, well, there's allayed any fears we had about that car. It was a bit of a pop bang. Oh dear, it wasn't working too well early in the week. That was a fuel mixture issue which they sorted out, and now the championship leading car then up to the top.
Purple,
GTD.
Frankie Montecalvo. Did Hysang get out of the way? If he didn't, he might hold him up. There goes Montecalvo to the top, and right behind him now is Hysang. So Hysang not only got his act together, he's gone second fastest, 150.0 for Montecalvo.
Oh, they're having a race. The two Lexus are having a race.
What
and
happened to Corey Lewis?
He's now, well, Corey Lewis has dropped away from these two because he can see them having an accident, I reckon.
Yeah.
Not the daftest thing to do for Lewis. He still had his best lap last time around, Jeremy. Corey Lewis at 154.1.
Yep, so I said to Hysang, you've got to get on it or get out. So he got on it, he did Hysang, because he's second fastest now, only to Montecalvo, who was 1.6 seconds quicker on that last lap. So Montecalvo much faster. That took him to the top of the charts, 150.071 for Frankie Montecalvo.
He's Hinman coming up with another quick one, though, in the Acura.
Yep.
Remember, when we spoke a moment or two ago, Trent was leading. He's now in 4th position.
Yeah.
Lexus Porsche, Lexus Acura. That will be Acura at the top in about 15 seconds' time.
Yeah, and Rubishaw back up into second place then in car number 9 for Faf Motorsports. As you said earlier on, John Hindhaugh, the times are just going to get faster and faster. Where's Ben Keating? Way down still in 12th place.
So wait for Hinman to come through. 3 minutes to go here. Last man across the line gets pole position, I reckon, here from the top runners. Acura Hinman to the top.
Yep, 148.452.
And it's not small improvements here. It's not incremental. It's huge.
Hysang's got enough here to get up there. So Montecalvo, well, he lifted off on this lap, didn't he? Because he was right behind the number 12 guy, lifted off to give himself some space. Here comes now the number 12 of Frankie Montecalvo across the line. He's not going to be quicker this lap, but ahead of him, his teammate Richard Hysang he goes to the top at 147.8 for car number 14. Montecalvo having lifted off to give himself some space. Oh, who's that? That's number 14. That is Hysang's come up right behind the number 73 of Patrick Lindsay. We talked Patrick Lindsay was 3rd, wasn't he, early in this session? He's now 12th. That's a lack of experience, I think, in terms of the fact he didn't learn anything this morning.
No, that's a fair point. That is a fair point. Last 2.5 minutes, Jeremy. And really, any one of the top 5 or 6.
Yeah, Montecalvo's on a great lap, though, having given himself some space. He's on a fast lap now. He goes purple in sector 1. Hinman goes purple in sector 2.
Now, who can switch the tyres on now? That's the question. They did go out, as we were talking about, it was the right decision to go out on dry tyres. There's a dry line there. Beware dropping a Michelin half a tyres width or a tyres width onto the damper part of the circuit, though. But now, who can be brave? Who can lean on the car? Who can get the tyre temperatures and pressures up and absolutely optimise the lap? Because you haven't taken that much out of these Michelin tyres, and we know that they have got good longevity in these relatively short qualifying sessions. Here comes Hinman to the line now. Does he improve? Yes, he does, at 46. And that's again 1.1 seconds ahead of everybody else. These are huge gobs of time that they're taking out of their own best laps every time around. It's on average about a second, between 1.1 and 1.5 seconds quicker. They're going every lap here.
See what Montecalvo can do. If you add his first 2 sectors together, they're just about the same as Trent Hinman. He's coming up now toward the completing this lap. Ben Keating up to 3rd place in the Mercedes, car number 33. He's ahead of Zachary Robichon. And Montecalvo did not improve, or did improve, but not enough. He's all of a sudden, he lost a lot of time in that final sector, did Montecalvo, and he's down now in 5th place in car number 12.
Down to the last 43 seconds. What we've got to watch now, Jeremy, is who gets across the line to get another lap in.
Yeah. Zachary Robichon, where I'm not sure he's going to get around to complete this lap. There's 30 seconds remaining in this lap.
He's due any time now. He's due any time now. He might be the last man to come around. Yes, he has got around and he's gone to the top. What's that, a 146.2? Yeah, 146.2. And he will get one more lap. 17 seconds to go.
Wow, that's Hinman's lifted off. Where is he on the racetrack? We'll see.
He's in the middle sector. He might get one more lap, Jeremy. He's ahead, I think, of Ben Keating.
5 seconds to go. 4.
Hinman needs to be on the front straight now. If he's going to get through, checkered flag's out. So
Hinman did not make it.
Robichon, I reckon, the only one who's going to get another lap. Foley will be no better than 4th in the BMW. Hinman's headed to the pits there.
Yeah.
Keating, no better than 5th. So it's down to high stand and Robichon at the moment. I can't see anybody else pulling through unless Monte Calvo's got something up his sleeve. No, he wasn't quick through the first sector. And Robichon going even quicker in sector 1.
Purple for plaid. Faf Motorsports. Zach Robichon, purple in sector 1, 21.843. That's 1,000th quicker than Trent Hinman, who was otherwise quicker. There goes Frankie Monte Calvo to the top. A 146.150. Lexus car number 12.
Wow, Monte Calvo didn't even have his own best first sector. For that, Jeremy, I'd written him off there.
Yeah.
Frankie, I doff my cap to you.
Robichon is on it. Purple sector 1, purple sector 2.
Well, he took 2/10 out of Frankie in the first sector alone, and then about another half a second. This is going to be a 45 something, and it's going to be a mid 45, not even a high 45, I reckon. Coming across the line, the Porsche from Canada, Plaid Motorsport will go to the top. Surely here, Robichon takes it and takes it by 0.3 of a second. 45.8. 45.8. So actually not the best run through the final sector. He lost, wow, how much did he lose in the last sector? He lost a second, 0.2 of a second in the last sector, and he was still 0.3 up. I expected it to be somewhere near that 39.7 and Monte Calvo. That's why I thought it would be a mid 45. 45.8 though, pole position for Faf Motorsport. Fantastic job. And the last man across the line did get pole position.
Yeah, he did. That was a really, really good run by Zachary Robichon, the Canadian driver, and he's already in great position. He's leading the WeatherTech Sprint Cup points going to this weekend. 27-year-old from Ottawa in Canada. This is his second pole in the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship. Really good run by this team. It's been they've done a fabulous job. Their first full season in the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship for the Canadian team. All Canadian driver lineup this weekend. Zachary Robichon and Scott Hargrove back aboard this car after missing out in the last couple of events. Robichon has put that car exactly where they want to be for tomorrow's race. Comes into this weekend, Robichon with a 5-point lead in the IMSA WeatherTech Sprint Cup. That's despite the fact that Faf Motorsports actually missed one of the races during that race. That was in Detroit. Robichon was able to join the Park Place Motorsports team alongside Patrick Long. Came away with a second-place finish, and it's that second-place finish that enabled him to lead the IMSA WeatherTech Sprint Cup with just 2 races to go here, and then the final race in a few weeks' time at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca.
Well done to the team and to Zach. He comes into pit lane. Shea Adam will have a chat with our pole sitter for GT Daytona. And I think, Shea, I'm right in saying that that little bit of drizzle that we had at the start of that session has pretty much disappeared right now. Shea Adam with her head umbrella on, proudly displaying the maple leaf, which is entirely appropriate for Faf and for Zachary Robichon, who comes in to claim the pole position for GT Daytona and for Porsche as well, of course. In fairness, he was out of the track at the right time. Frankie Monte Calvo ran him a lot closer than I thought he was going to. Frankie had a better first sector. Might have been a different car sitting there, Jeremy. But Zach has done the job. No taking it away from him or Faf Motorsport. And Shea Adam will talk to our GTD pole sitter.
Congratulations, Zach Robichon, your second pole position, but the first time we actually get to do an interview with you about this. Changing conditions out there, you definitely had it at the right time, but talk about that lap around VIR. How much were your hands moving around?
Yeah, I mean, credit goes out to the team for this one. They made the right call, and I think we got the timing right. think we got that extra lap on everybody else, and I was just, I think, about a 10th behind before that, and then because of that last lap, I think we were able to put it in, and it was a little bit exciting, definitely. The car was moving around a lot, but I love these conditions. It's like driving on the ice at home, so you never really know what you're going to get, so you got to be ready to react, and it just makes for a lot of fun behind the wheel.
How much do you have left in the Michelin tires for tomorrow's race? Because it looked like you were working them pretty hard.
Yeah, I think luckily the temps probably weren't too high because of the fact that we didn't have that grip in the track. So I'm not too worried about tire wear after that one because just because of the changing track conditions. So, yeah.
Way to go. Your first time here in IMSA competition, and you started off with the pole.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, very, very well done. Total team effort there. Very classy from Zachary Robichon to credit the team, but the man behind the wheel had to do the hard work, particularly on that last lap. It would have been easy, as I had done, if the team had seen, all right, with Frankie Montecalvo, he hasn't done a good first sector. It's all right, you can lift off. And clearly they didn't. He pushed on and did the fastest first sector of anybody, and then turned that with the second sector, again, a purple sector, fastest of anybody, and that turned it in. That's what gave him the pole position.
Yeah, and the track all around was just improving lap on lap, so a really good run there by Robichon. He also had the pole position at Detroit. That was not a round of the regular full season championship, but it was a round of the WeatherTech Sprint Cup for GTD, the shorter races of the season, so taking out all the long distance races. So that's why it is his second pole overall in this championship. It's been a really good season for Zachary Robichon, building upon his experience and magnificent run last year in the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge, where he missed the first half of the season, but absolutely dominated the second. And he's a very bright young man. He's a very fast young man as well. Frankie Montecalvo and Richard Heiston there for Aim Vassar-Sullivan will fill the second and third position. Number 12 of Montecalvo ahead of Richard Heiston, number 14. Trent Hinman will come home in fourth position. Hats off to Alice Powell in car number 57 for Heinrich Racing, the second of the Maya, Shank Acuras. She comes home in fifth position. A great final lap for Alice Powell there to put that car on the third row of the grid in GTD.
Yeah, first time here in damp conditions. The laps that she ran today, had a test here, but only for 15 laps back earlier in the year. And very much done under the radar. And great to have her back in the paddocks. That's all good stuff there, and bodes very well for the race. She'll be starting the race, of course, which you'll hear live here on IMSA Radio and on XM Sirius. Check SiriusXM.com for the channel numbers if you're here in the States. If you're outside the US or in a territory that has not got a network TV deal, then you'll be able to join us with full, live and uninterrupted video and sound coverage on IMSA.tv and the player at RadioLeMans.com, as well as the IMSA app. That's all on Sunday. Shea Adam, tell me about the qualifiers in GT Le Mans. Let's start with BMW, number 24.
Perfect. That's exactly who I'm standing by. Let's go for John Edwards. Why not? He's looking for another pole position, and that would be number 5 for him in the series if he can get it done today. But he's going to have to fight against the race winner from last year, Connor DeFilippi, who's taken up the honors for BMW number 25. In Corvette land, it is the two who did the practice session this morning. Ollie Gavin behind the wheel of the number 4, and Jan Magnussen driving the number 3. For Fordland, again, the two drivers who drove in practice 3, it is Ryan Briscoe in the 67, that's the light blue Ford, and in the number 66, Joey Hand, 2015 pole sitter here. When we move up to the Porsches, it is Larry, as we can always come to expect. It's very reliable now. And number 912, the championship leader. And Nick Tandy, who's going for another pole here. I think he was 2015, actually. Yes, he was 2015. He's looking for another pole position. Joey Hand was 2016, and Richard Westbrook was last year. So we've got several pole position contenders here who have gotten it at VIR before. And we've got 6 drivers looking to get their first pole position at Virginia International Raceway.
Yes. Where's your money going to go here, Jeremy? It really could be anybody for the GT Le Mans. We often don't see the full potential of these cars. We go on to slicks and tricky conditions. The Porsches look very well sorted in the wetter conditions in the final third practice session earlier on today. BMW have been quick here in the past, didn't really show very much today. And you can make a case as well for Corvette. to be honest. So really, it could be any of the manufacturers.
It really could. I mean, Porsche has been fastest both in the wet and the dry this morning. Oh, excuse me, in the dry yesterday and the wet this morning. So they certainly would come into here favourites. It's certainly been no question now. It's definitely slick tyres, no question about that. So, I think you're right. No, it's certainly, the track is going to be quite different to when the cars were last out on slick tyres yesterday. And it's now a question of who gets their sums right. It's much cooler out there than it was yesterday as well. So track really couldn't be much more different than it was better part of 24 hours ago when the cars were last out on a racetrack.
Yeah. Ford have had the pole position here the last 2 years. So a gauntlet very much thrown down there. Porsche are at the pit outside of things. Brand new set of Michelin slick tyres on. There's no choice. It has to be slicks here.
Yeah.
For this, because the track is just getting better and better all the time. Now, as I say that, let's, never mind the weather radar, let's walk outside and put my hand out and see if there's... No, it's dry. We've not had a repeat pole sitter 2 in a row for, well, since 2014 now. So here, so that's a very, very impressive stat. It's been shared around. We've had manufacturers doing it, as we mentioned with Ford, but not the same driver. So that's quite extraordinary as how it's being shared around down through the years. The green flag has been thrown. There's little or no action. In fact, no action at the moment. So let's see. Did I just hear a Corvette rumble? I did. Jan Magnussen's just gone up through the S's. So Jan Magnussen, first man out. He's already at the oak tree.
Yeah, and the tracks...
Both BMWs have gone out early. That's unusual. They're normally the last ones out.
Yeah, that is unusual. They are normally the last ones out. And I think there's no question the track is going to get... I think it's pretty much all dry now, on the racing line at least. But there's no question the track is going to get better, I would suggest, as this 15-minute session rolls along. But in case anybody oversteps the mark and causes a red flag, you do want it certainly is a potentially advantageous to get a lap in there. If you haven't got a lap already and we go red and the session is stopped once we've got 10 minutes completed, then the session will be completed. If you haven't got a lap in, you're going to be out of luck and you're going to have to start from the back. Certainly offline here it's still damp, but I think where the track really matters, so to speak, in terms of where the grip is, it's pretty much all dry now. It will certainly take a little bit longer to build heat into these Michelin tyres, and that's what they need to get that ultimate potential.
Yeah, we've seen, haven't we, in the past, that even in perfect conditions, the drivers take a wee bit of time to get the tyres to their optimum. It's not charging out. Laurens Vanthoor tends to like doing that. Magnussen starts his first flying lap, takes the curb at turn 5, through 5B, and up through the snake, 6. Just threading the eye of the needle now, positions the car to the right-hand side underneath the Michelin bridge, and now turns in left-handed as he heads up the S's, right behind us. If I look to my right now, I can see the bright yellow of the Corvette heading up the hill.
One side of the road to the other and back again. Just looking at the times again from that GTD session, I fancy the last 3, probably 5 cars, possibly 6. Corey Lewis might have been on wet weather tyres rather than dries, because the top 8 are all within 3 seconds of each other. There's a big gap to everybody else. So I think Corey Lewis and Paul Miller Racing might have elected to stay on wet weather tyres for that session. That certainly cost them track position. Both of the Lamborghinis actually back in 8th and 9th.
Very, very slippery pit lane. Joey Hand leaving in the 66 and chasing. It took him about 4 seconds before he actually moved anywhere. Just spinning the wheels. Both Fords out now. 912 in the hands of Laurens Vanthoor out as well. 10.5 minutes still to go here at VIR. Live in sound and vision. IMSA Radio and IMSA TV. Let's wait for Jan Magnussen's first flying lap. He's coming down to the timing line now. Crosses it. And Where does he head up to? Only halfway up the GTD field, not even that, 9th position.
Right, and we're now with 10 minutes 24 remaining, so we're almost a third of the way through this session. There's still time now for another 5-6 laps probably for everybody, so there's plenty of time to to build the heat into tires and get a representative lap time out there. I think the number 911 Porsche now is the only car not yet to have ventured out on the racetrack.
That's Patrick
right?
Pele who's going to be qualifying. Sorry, it's Nick Tandy who's going to be qualifying the 911 car. Under 10 minutes to go now. And the BMW of John Edwards, the number 24 car, he has gone quicker than Magnussen. His teammate is a little bit slower, but they are still 9th, 10th and 11th as far as the GTD field is concerned. So we're still yet to see, with 9.5 minutes left now, any of the GT Le Mans cars go quicker than the top 8 GTDs managed at the end. Nick Tandy's engine has fired, and he has selected first gear in the number 911 Porsche, and he heads out onto the track.
Okay, so with just over 9 minutes remaining, finally all the cars are out there now. Only 3 of the 8 GT11 cars so far, however, have turned a flying lap in this session, as John Hindhaugh was saying. The 2 BMWs, number 24 and number 25, sandwiching Jan Magnussen, number 3 Corvette. But it's Jan Magnussen who went purple in Sector 1. He was purple in Sector 2, but he's just been eclipsed by Conor De Filippi as Magnussen crosses the line and goes to the top of the charts overall, 145.1.
Big afternoon coming up here from VIR as we go sound and vision through to close of play here with Michelin Pilot Challenge. Their grid set by championship positions after being weathered off yesterday. Rain and lightning in the area. Then we've got the first of 2 Lamborghini races this weekend, and then the IMSA Prototype Challenge, all available in the sound and vision all around the world. No blocks, no breaks, as IMSA TV and IMSA Radio link up for a super Saturday afternoon of racing. But we've got 8 minutes to decide who is on outright pole, remember, for the Michelin GT Challenge here at VIR.
Conor De Filippi, he was half a second down on the first sector to Jan Magnussen on the lap that he's just completed, but at the end of it, he's gone a half a second clear of Magnussen. So it's Conor 25 that is fastest right now, with a 144.646. The qualifying lap record was set here 2 years ago by Joey Hand, a 1 minute 40.2. I would think we should be getting fairly close to that mark, so there's still a fair way to go. I don't know whether we're going to get down to 40s perhaps, but we should be I would at least 41, so still a long way to go in terms of lap time, with 7.5, less than that, minutes remaining.
Yeah, but look what happened at the end of the GTD, middle to the end of the GTD, when people got their tyres up to temp and pressure. All of a sudden they were finding 1.1, 1.5 seconds per lap. Indeed. As the confidence came with the temperature and the pressures in the tyres. I don't think we'll be far off that. Yeah. I don't think we'll be far off that. I mean, that looks a lot at the moment. That's 4 seconds. But you'll find that in a couple of 3 laps. Right. Mind, you've only got 6.5 minutes to go, so you're going to have to get a wiggle on. Well,
Magnus has just found a 2.5 of it. 1:43.4 from number 3 Corvette is the new fastest time.
Well, scrub that, because Conor De Filippi's just down to a 42 flat.
Yeah, and those two are nose to tail. They're heading around turn 1 now. Is that number 3 or number 4 Corvette ahead of him?
And Filippi, Edwards and Magnussen is the 25, 24 and 3. Those are the top 3 at the moment. 912, Lawrence Vanto. The 45, not really in the shouting match at the moment.
Filippi has lifted off there, I think. Yeah, he has. He's given the Corvette ahead of him some space. John Edwards up into 2nd position then. There's a BMW 1-2.
42.6 then for Filippi. Half a second away from his teammate. 43.1 from John Edwards. 25 from 24. Then Magnussen with a 43.4. Joey Hand jumps up into 4th position with a 43.9.
Yeah, that's not going to stay for long, because Lawrence Vanto is going much quicker than an Armour 912 car. Across the line he goes to the top. 141.859 then for Laurens Vanthoor.
So we are going to get somewhere close.
Yeah.
As the screaming, the bark of the flat six engine as the rear Michelins give up traction out of turn 1, and the back end of the 912 slides on its way through 2 to 3, now through 4. 5A takes a lot of curb on the right-hand side. Vanthoor, the Porsche pulls back into 5B. Fantastic. He does like the car on the nose. He doesn't mind the rear end of it moving around, and he's using that to good effect now, coming up through the S's. Will he get a bit of air through 6 and 7 over the top of the rise? Just a little dab on the brakes before he comes into 10. It looks smooth. It looks good for Vanthoor. Yes, it's good. First sector, fully a second quicker than anyone else has gone. But Connor De Phillippi is winding up to a fast one as he's been fastest in the last sector. Little mistake on the exit of the Oak Tree, went tiny bit wide for the Porsche number 911 of Laurens Vanthoor. Will that affect his middle sector time? This is not the best. This is not the forte of the Porsche. The long runs, they're not quickest in a straight line.
That cost him a fair bit of time, I think, coming out of that Oak Tree turn there. This lap is not going to be faster, I don't think. Jan Magnussen did improve on his last lap. 42.3 then for the number 3 Corvette. Then the 2 BMWs, Edwards and De Phillippi. 42.4 for Edwards, 42.6 for De Phillippi.
Yeah, and here's Jan Magnussen's put the fastest middle sector in of anybody. Joey Hand goes to second. No purples, no best, but he's half a second away from the Porsche. Porsche 912, Ford 66, Corvette number 3, BMW 24. 4 manufacturers in the top 4, separated by just on half a second. No, scratch that. Tandy's just blown it all out the water. He's gone 2/10 quicker than everyone else. 141.6. Nick Tandy, first flying lap. Ding dong, Tandy calling.
Yeah, what could Magnussen do? He goes second by 0.076. Magnussen in the Corvette. So it's Porsche, Chevrolet, Porsche, Ford, BMW, Ford. Right, Briscoe improves on that last lap by 142.5. De Phillippi all of a sudden is in 7th.
Well, magic stuff from Nick Tandy.
Yeah. But
magic stuff.
He's now lifted off, and Vanthoor has now got purple in sector 1, a couple of tenths quicker than Magnussen, who also improves on this lap.
Top 3 start is what the Porsche team aim for every time. You want to be first row or no worse than inside of the second row. Now, here is Vanthoor. Vanthoor is putting up some purple sectors.
Yeah.
Coming through to the end of the lap. This is the 912 car about to finish, and he's just heading in the braking area at the top of the roller coaster. Seems to barely scrub off any speed there, but somehow the car makes it through the right hand and now diving down towards Hogpen. Again, these rides the curb on the inside and on the right hander at the bottom. Got the inside wheels airborne there. Did that cost him a bit of time, or did it just help him rotate the car? I'm not sure.
That's confidence.
Is it? It's confidence and it's commitment, Jeremy. And he goes to the top with a 140.630. So we're getting there. Big lock up though into turn 1. He won't get another quick lap there. He's going to have to gather his thoughts. Is that going to be quick enough? I'm not sure, you know. Hands on another good one.
Yeah,
Tandy isn't. He's just done a cool down lap. So Vanthoor, 23 seconds in that first sector with a big lock up. So he's out of it for this lap. He must get around in the next minute or so to start another lap, because I'm not sure he's got enough on the field, even though at the moment it stands at 7/10.
Yeah, he's got a chunk, hasn't he? But I think he might just about have enough time to get in one more lap before the end of the session. And a minute 40 to go now. Jan Magnussen back up to second place, a 141.4 in the number 3 Corvette.
Big commitment from Joey Hand in third, coming through turn 10 into the Oak Tree. Had the inside wheels off the ground in that Ford. You don't often see the Ford airborne.
Briscoe, good improvement, up to 4th place, a number 67 Ford, ahead of Nick Tandy.
Again, Jeremy, this is going to be who gets the extra lap at the end. The track is coming to these Michelin slick tyres, and off has gone Tandy. Tandy's gone off in a big way at the Oak Tree turn. Misses his braking point and puts it into the wall. He was hustling round to get another lap. Now, he may have done his teammate a solid here. Oh no, he's getting it going. Damage to the left rear. There's a broken wheel arch, a fender there. That's going to need replacing. The whole of the front clip's gone. And Nick Tandy, with bodywork peeling away from the left rear, park it in the pit lane. Oh, I think he should have parked that in the pit lane. Just missed his braking point by half a yard, maybe not even that, maybe a foot.
And right behind him on the road there was Ryan Briscoe. Did that cost him some time? Actually, no, he still got, it must have distracted him a little bit, but he still went a best sector time. He's only 3 or 4 seconds behind him, so he'll have seen Tandy sliding off the road.
He was so close to saving that, Jeremy. He got a little wiggle, got on the brakes, off the brakes, straightened the car up, but they just dropped onto the grass. And Tandy
Briscoe up to third, 141.3.
Tell you who
that's still 7 tenths away from Vantour.
Yeah, but Briscoe's just put the fastest lap, first part of the lap in. Vantour, it was about a tenth slower. They'll all get another lap. The checkered flag is out. Ollie Gavin moves up to 5th, but that's all he'll do because the checkered flag is out. Nick Tandy is in the pit lane. 3rd place, Ford GT. Ryan Briscoe, the light blue and red car, is absolutely on it. He's turned that one up to 11. Now comes into the tricky braking area for Oak Tree where he saw Tandy go off. He gives the outside of the road plenty of respect. Oh, gets on the power so early on the exit, right onto the runoff on the driver's left, coming out of Oak Tree. Now down Madison Avenue, changing up through the gears, watching for the lights above the steering wheel. Starts to climb the first rise. Starting to think about your braking point. Right at the bottom of the hill, just where the road comes in from the right-hand side, slows the car down, gets to the apex at the top of the roller coaster. And again, the Ford really powering out of those corners. Jan Magnussen's putting a good lap together behind him as well. This is going to be really tight. Vantour, Briscoe and Magnussen all on quick roads. No, Vantour's in the pits. Vantour's in the pits despite the fact he had 2 personal best sectors. So it's now going to be Ford or Chevrolet, and it's neither. It's neither. Briscoe goes through, Hand goes through, Hand stays in 4th, Briscoe goes into 3rd, Magnussen goes into 2nd by 0.078 of a second. It's Porsche and Chevrolet Corvette on the front row for the Michelin GT3 Challenge at VIR. Vantour just does enough, and I mean just the blink of an eye, 0.078 of a second, and Jan Magnussen so close to pulling it out right at the end. He and Briscoe had really good laps going, and 3 different cars taking the best sector times.
Yeah, and it was the 3rd sector that cost Ryan Briscoe. He was looking for his first pole since Sebring in 2017. He lost it all in that 3rd sector. He lost 3 tenths of a second in that 3rd sector to Lawrence Vantour. He lost over 2 tenths to Jan Magnussen. He's totally away from the pole, 0.156 for Briscoe. 3rd place it will be for car number 67.
That was magnificent stuff by all of the drivers there. Vantour looked like he had a reasonable lap going, but clearly he knew on the Delta that he wasn't going to do it. So Lawrence Vantour, the qualifying specialist for the 912 team. The workload has been divided between Vantour and Earl Bamber. Bamber's been working on the setup for the long runs and maximising the life of the Michelin tyres. Vantour basically has been given red meat, slapped around a bit, and had nasty things said about all of his family before being strapped in to do qualifying in the first part of the race.
And a couple of races ago at Lime Rock Park, that was where Lawrence Vantour had his first pole position. He liked that experience, he wanted another one, and here it is just 2 races later. That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun and great driving. Great qualifying. These 15-minute sessions are absolutely what qualifying should be about. Don't understand why more people don't do the IMSA way. It's been this way for a very long time now, and credit, by the way, due to our Michelin tyre partners, because you've got a tyre even, all right, these are particularly cooler conditions and a bit damp, but even in warmer conditions, it's now become the norm, Jeremy, to see drivers out for the vast majority of the 15 minutes and just getting faster and faster. The track conditions were helping that here. That's why there was such big improvements. But even when it's been a rubbered-in track and a warm day, we've seen quite often the last person to get across the line has been the pole sitter, because the Michelins have been have been so consistent, and as they burn off the fuel, the car's getting lighter. Proper, what I would call proper old-fashioned qualifying.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there, and it was super tight there between the Porsche, the Chevy, and the two Fords, all covered by just around about 0.3 of a second. A little bit of a gap back to the kind of the rest of the pack, and the rest of them were covered by just, what, 0.2 in actual fact, from Oliver Gavin, Nick Tandy, John Edwards, and Colin De Filippi, just 0.2 between all of them.
So we're just waiting for Vanthoor to pull down to Shea Adams so we can get the interview with him. Actually, I think he's already there. Shea, is he already with? Why is he not getting out of the car, Shea?
Well, because he's a little bit precautious. He wants to make sure that it's okay that he gets out of the car and that he won't lose his pole time. And we keep assuring him, and he's just sitting in there.
Oh, listen to the cheers.
Yeah, no, he finally got out. We are getting a bit of emotion.
Is he in his own pit? He's actually in his own pit.
Yeah, because his pit box is the first one on the pit lane, coming in as the championship leader.
Yeah.
So rather than have him roll forward 10 feet, we're just allowing this to go on right here. So Laurens Vanthoor, he knows what to do for a pole interview. It's still a new sensation for him, though. But congratulations, second pole position of your IMSA career. We're calling you the qualifying specialist because that's sort of the job in your relationship with Vanthoor. How hard was it out there, though, with very slippery conditions?
Yeah, it wasn't very easy because the track was drying up and there was still some slightly wet spots. So first couple laps you're trying to figure out where the track is dry, and then especially, you know, you have a couple laps of extra juice on the tires and you need to decide when you want to use them. You don't know if there's more rain coming or the track's going to get better. So it's a little bit of pokering, I think, but it worked out well. And like I said yesterday, car's been good since the first lap I went out, and it showed. We've been P1 first session, P1 this morning, and now in qualifying, so one more to go. And not warm up, but the race.
Well, yeah, you want to be fastest in warm-up, too, because you always want to be fastest. But you talked about the fact that there's a little bit extra juice in the tires. You were on a really quick lap when you came into the pit lane. Why didn't you get out there and just drop the lap time a little bit more?
Because in the end, we have to start on these tires in the race as well. And today it's quite cold. Tomorrow maybe it's a bit hotter. So up there they thought it was safe, so they called me in. I said, "Are you sure?" I asked the same question. "Are you sure?" Because I'm pretty close, and I might be able to get a 10 out of it. But they were sure about it, and they were right, and made us save a lap for on the tires for tomorrow, and see if it helps.
It was 0.079 of a second, so it was a great call from the box. Congrats on your second pole.
Thank you very much.
That's a bit like that's leaving a ball from a fast bowler on length, isn't it? And it just goes over the top of leg stump there. 0.079, possibly just a little bit too close. Earlier on, we saw a pole position for Zachary Robichon in Porsche, FAF Porsche number 9, and it's a Porsche pole at the GT Le Mans end of the field as well. And Laurens Vanthoor will lead the field round to the green flag for the start of the race tomorrow, which you can see and hear live here on IMSA TV and IMSA Radio.